Hey everyone, it's Emily and welcome back to my channel. Today we are talking all about post-grad advice. And this video is made specifically for those of you who are graduating college. I was in your same shoes 1 year ago. I graduated with my bachelor's and I was so optimistic about the world and about adulthood and all that stuff. And I wish someone would have told me some of these things I'm about to share with you today. So grab a snack because I know I'm going to be rambling a little bit in this video because there's just so much I want to share with you guys. Grab a snack and let's just go ahead and get started. Just a little backstory about my personal college experience. I graduated in June 2016 with a bachelor's in psychology, and I was a first generation college graduate, meaning that I am the first one in my family to go to college and graduate and get my degree. So I take a lot of pride in that because that is a lot of hard work there, and it feels really good to be the first person in my family who has gone to college and gotten their degree. So I wrote 2 post-it notes worth of things that I wanted to tell you guys about, and it's back and front. I'm gonna try my best to speed through this. And the first thing I wrote down on here is don't take a job just because you have a fear of being unemployed. Just take that in for a sec, let that sink into your brain, and I'm gonna tell you one more time. Don't take a job just because you have a fear of unemployment. But I'll tell you a little bit more why in the next piece of advice, but honestly, I remember that this time of year last year for 3 months, I was constantly applying to so many jobs. And that's another thing. You're going to be applying to a lot of jobs and not hearing back from them, which is totally normal. I think on average, you have to apply to 20 jobs to hear back from one. And that's just the world that we live in right now. But I remember feeling so afraid of not being employed, and that had to do with some of my personal preferences as well. I didn't want to move back home. I just had a lot of ambition and I wanted to be independent like I've always been. So I definitely had a fear in the back of my head, and I'm sure every college graduate does. You want to make money, you want to be able to sustain yourself and live out whatever your plans are, and stay on this timeline. But the truth is, you shouldn't be afraid to be unemployed. And that leads me to my next tip. Why? Because for me, I've just been working my whole, I don't remember the last time I've actually had a break. And I think it was probably my the end of freshman year to sophomore year. I had that last summer vacation, and that was the last one before I started working full-time in the summers or doing summer school or something. I never had a break after that, and that's been 3 years with just go school, work, school, work, school, work. And I'm just now realizing after, graduating college, going straight into a full-time job, that you need a break. You need a freaking break in your life. And I've started feeling that burnout just recently. And I had friends who went to Europe for a month and just, took it all in. And even if they were in debt, they just went and traveled and took a break for themselves because they deserved it. And for me, I was in that mentality, no, I gotta work because my parents aren't gonna be able to help me sustain and all this stuff. So I had a lot of pressure on myself, and I am feeling the burnout from it right now. And I just wanted to tell you right now, if you want to take off a couple months, even if it's just summer, to take your time, relax, hang out with your friends, and just kind of give yourself some time to relax. Because think about it, you've been in college for 4 years. You're probably doing stuff in the you were probably doing summer school as well. And because I don't want this video to be so long, I'm I just can't tell you everything that was going on in the back of my head. But the gist of it is you need a break, and you're gonna need it eventually, and you've worked so hard, and you just owe it to yourself. I literally took 1 weekend for myself, and that was it. And the following week after graduation, it was graduate. That weekend I went to Vegas, and then the following week I went to work. There was no time for me to do anything. So I can't even stress enough how important it is to give yourself a break. And if you have a hustler bug in you like I do, where you always have to be consistently doing something, that's fine. But I'm just saying, just don't submerge yourself into a full-time job so quickly. I don't know. Yeah. I wish someone would have told me that, because if I could have taken at least a couple more weeks off for myself, I think I would have been in a much better place. But yeah, you live and you learn, right? The next tip is very important as well, and I thought I would just tell you because I am a very stubborn person, and once you move out of college, or once I moved out to college, I had the idea that I am never moving back home. Ever. And that is the case right now. I have not moved back home ever since I moved out, and it's been 4 years. But there is nothing wrong with moving back home. Let that sink in. There's nothing wrong with moving back home. One, you're gonna save money, right? A lot of money in rent, especially if you are living in an area where it is extremely expensive for rent. You're gonna save so much rent money, and it also gives you time. If you need a break, you could take a break and be at home. You don't have to worry about having an income because your parents will be there helping you. And it's just a smarter money move on your part as well. But the bottom line, if you are planning to move back home, you need to still have a game plan. You need to have a game plan of how long are you planning on living at home? Are you going to find a job near your home, or are you going to be saving up money, getting a part-time job or something, just like a job near your house where you could save money and then move out and pursue your actual career? You have to have a game plan, because I could see it going two ways. You can move back home and be comfortable and you won't be moving out anytime soon. Or you move back home with a game plan, knowing, all right, I don't want to be living at home for this long, but I need to get my finances together before I can sustain myself as an adult, living in an apartment, whatever. So yeah, it's okay to move back home as long as you have a game plan. The next piece of advice I want to give you is to learn how to manage your money, especially your student loans after you graduate. And for me personally, I've already been on top of my student loans because that's just how I am. I have to be very organized with my money and know exactly where every dollar is going. But for a lot of people, they're not quite there yet, and that's okay. And that's why I'm telling you right now, you really need to start looking at your money and what you owe and what your loans are, because that starts racking up interest real quick. But I think it'd be a really smart move for you to start now and figure out what your money situation is and how you're gonna pay off your debt. There's a lot of different ways, and I could talk about money in a whole nother video. But yeah, right now is the time to start learning how to budget your money and figure out what you're doing with your student loans. This next tip is something I tell myself every single day, and I'm not even kidding you. I tell this to myself either in my head, I write it down in my journal, but it is okay if you are not where you envisioned yourself to be after graduation. And it's okay if, like I said in the beginning, if you're not on that timeline that everyone just has for themselves, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have my career by this age, be making this much at this age, have a family, buy a house, all of that stuff. It's not gonna happen like that, unfortunately. And especially now, because it is just, it's way different. Everything is so much more competitive. Everything costs more. The cost of living is up. There's just a lot. And it's okay if you are not where you want to be yet, whether that's career-wise, salary-wise, whatever it is. But just remember, we are still young. And I'm saying this out loud for myself as well. I'm 22, and sometimes I feel like I'm a failure just by looking at social media and this person has this job already and blah blah blah. But you can't be doing that to yourself, because it is not good for your mental health and your overall happiness, right? So I'm telling you now, as a best friend or a big sister, whatever you see me as, but it's okay if you're not there. If it's okay. If you have your goals in line and how you want to work towards them, that is all that matters. It's better for you to take it slowly, step by step, versus beating yourself up for not being there yet. Because for some of us, it's going to take a little longer than others, and that's just how things work. But I just needed to say that out loud, just for myself to hear out loud and for you to hear. The next piece of advice is that friendships are going to take a lot of effort, and it's probably going to take the most amount of effort you've ever had to put in a friendship. But a lot of the time, everyone's just gonna drift, you're gonna be left with a couple of, or a handful of good friends, and that's okay. But you really need to make the effort to keep those friendships, because if not, they're just gonna fade as well. And let me tell you, making friends while you are in the adult world is actually pretty hard. Just let me tell you. Oh my goodness, as I'm looking at these notes, I'm just I can't believe it. It's like, these are all real. This one kind of ties in with one of the other pieces of advice that I just told you, but there are going to be a lot of times where you feel lost and you feel uncertain about your future and you feel scared. A lot of very like strong emotions. And like I said, it's okay. It's going to be okay. But it's very important for you to have someone to talk to about those feelings, because let me tell you, if you try to bottle it up and just try to suck it up and be like, no, I got this, I could do this on my own. Newsflash, you can't do it on your own. You really can't. Right now, going from such a weird transition of being in school for, let's see, 16 years? Like, am I doing the math right? Yeah, 16 years, and just completely just not going to school. Unless you are going to school, then that's different. But then you'll just be in school longer, right? And this is where the friendship tip ties in, because you want to be able to confide in someone of those feelings, because it's just not going to work out for you if you bottle it all in. Like, it's just not going to work. And going off the whole thing of you can't do it on your own, you really cannot do it all on your own. Like, again, let that sink in your brain cells. You really can't do it all alone. Like, you can't get through life on your own. You really can't. And I know for me, as someone who's very stubborn and no, I got this, I'm gonna do it by myself kind of thing, you gotta like swallow your pride for a second and let people help you. So the last piece of advice I have for you for this video is to pick up a side hustle, meaning like a side thing that you can do on the weekends to help you make extra money, or pick up a hobby, or learn a new skill. Basically, the bottom line is to keep yourself busy aside from whatever job you're doing. And for me, luckily, that is you guys. That's YouTube. I work 40 hours a week and then I come home and I do YouTube stuff. And that's just how I like to do things. After doing that for like day after day, week after week, month after month, even year after year, you're going to get so complacent, and that is not what you want to be doing in your 20s. And so, like I said, pick up a side hustle, some kind of a side thing, like something other than your job. And maybe that's just like the little nerd in me, but I always love pushing myself to learn new things and learn new perspectives, because like 16 years of education is like, but like adulthood keeps going. So you gotta be with the times, I guess, and keep up with everything and just keep learning, because it's very important. And yeah, you don't want to get complacent. Like, that's not going to be good for you. And with that being said, that concludes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. And we got really deep. And it just kind of gave me a light bulb moment that maybe I will turn this into like a college series and stuff. So if you guys are interested in that, give this video a thumbs up and let me know what other videos I should do. I am going to be doing a year after college video next month. So I want to do a whole year of just what I've learned in that video, so you can stay tuned for that. But if you have any other ideas like money videos, girl, I love those, and guys, I love those. But yeah, just let me know in the comments, and I will see you guys next week or very soon for another video. Bye!